Hello lovely, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be going through the best and the worst advice that I've been given as a first-time mum. Let's start off with a bit of best advice that I've been given, and that is to trust your instinct. In almost every scenario and situation, you know what is right for you and your family and your baby. Trust your instinct, follow your gut, and rarely things will go wrong. You might not always get it completely right, but I'm telling you, if you have an inkling that something might be up, or you think, actually, I'm going to get this checked out, or this doesn't seem right, follow your instinct, trust your gut, because it will rarely let you down. Now for one of the worst bits of advice, which kind of follows on quite nicely from the last one. Don't worry, she'll be fine. This is one of the bits of bad advice because of course we worry as mothers, it's only natural, and the reason that we're worrying is because we don't think things are fine. So saying, don't worry, they'll be fine, is not helpful as advice. I think whatever the worry is, someone is coming to you because they are worried about their child, and dismissing them by saying, don't worry, is not helpful. I think if you don't have any helpful advice to give, then don't just sort of finish it with don't worry. Try and think of resources that the person could use instead. Don't have to always just rely on being and saying, don't worry, they'll be fine. Another bit of good advice is adjust your expectations of yourself. By lowering the standards you put on yourself to do tasks and get things done, you free up space to just enjoy your baby and have good times. And also by freeing up that space, by lowering your expectations, you're also going to feel less guilty about not getting everything done that you used to get done. By lowering your expectations that you put on yourself, you're going to feel less guilt, you're going to be happier, you're going to enjoy the time that you have with your children more because you've not got this kind of running list of things in your head that you need to get done as soon as possible. I find myself, when I don't get things done that I feel like I need to do, I get upset because I'm thinking, I'm failing at this. I'm failing at being a mother and doing every other task that I need to do. And actually, the only thing that is important to me is being Juno's mum, and everything else can wait. So lower your expectations of yourself. Everything else, within reason, can wait. Now another bit of bad advice. And this one, really gets me. When people say, we didn't do that in my day, or we didn't do that way back when. And that's okay, There's a reason that you didn't do that then, and there's a reason that we do it now. So I'm going to throw out an example for this one, and it is safe sleep. So I think I had a conversation with someone once about safe sleep and how babies sleep and how they should sleep to reduce risks of SIDS or complications, two things that as a parent you really want to avoid. So I think I was having a conversation along the lines of, when they're this age, they're not meant to sleep on their front or their side, they're meant to sleep on their back. And this person replied saying, well, we didn't do it like that in my day. In my day, we did it like this, and told me exactly what they did. And that's cool, that's fine that that's what you did in your day. But we don't do it now, and we don't do it for a good reason. There are safe sleep guides, or another example, safe weaning guides, things that you should feed your baby, things that you shouldn't feed your baby, temperatures that you should bath your baby in, toys that your baby shouldn't play with yet, choking hazards, etc. The list goes on and on and on. And maybe 50 years ago, you didn't have those lists to contend with, and that's okay, but don't push your views on other people by saying, don't worry, it'll be fine. We didn't do it that way in my day, so you can, we got away with it then. And it's like, yeah, you did get away with it then, but child mortality rates were probably higher, and you didn't do it then, but there's a good reason that we don't do it now. Like, scientific evidence and research is in place, and we have these safe ways to do things, and I'm going to do it that way because it's safe, and then I know that I've done everything I can to ensure that my baby is safe. I think with that one, it also kind of loosely feels like you're being judged for the way that you're doing things, and the person saying that, and I feel like a lot of parents, probably every parent, has heard someone at some point say, we didn't do that do it like that back in my day. And, you know, is that judgment? Is that person thinking you're doing it wrong? We did it this way. And the way that you're doing it isn't the right way. And maybe that's why the baby's doing this or that. I don't know. So I think that one's bad advice. Another bit of good advice that I received, and I've read and heard from other people that they think this is bad advice, but I think this is good advice, which might be controversial. So it is, sleep when the baby sleeps. And obviously this isn't always possible, especially when you have a newborn. Newborns literally sleep all day and they're awake pretty much all night. But how I kind of view that bit of advice, sleep when the baby sleeps, is adjust your routine as much as you can to the baby's routine, especially in the newborn days. Once we had Juno home for a few days, we realised that her longest stretch of sleep was from about 7 p.m. until about 11. It was a good few hours, it was always uninterrupted, and she never woke up, she just slept. So my partner and I got in bed at 7 p.m. so that we had that longer stretch of sleep as well. And I know a lot of people probably think, oh, you know, I really want that time on my own. I really want that time to just be myself, to just sit and watch what I want to watch, or, you know, not have a baby on me. And that is totally fair enough. But for me, it was all about sleep. So, and for Phil as well. So when Juno slept in the evening, we tried our absolute hardest to be asleep at the same time rather than just sat downstairs on the sofa watching TV. We were in bed trying to sleep with her. And it was a bit easier for me to sleep in the day when she was sleeping because Phil was at work. But, you know, if I'd had an especially hard night, then I would spend the morning in bed with her sleeping. And it is really good advice. But I think what I take from that advice, more than like actually sleep exactly when the baby sleeps all the time, is more like, you know, adjust your routine and follow the baby's routine. I actually think this could be another bit of advice, but I'm going to tag it into this sleep when the baby sleeps advice. I read in a book, gosh, I can't remember what book it was. Something said somewhere to treat your sleep over a 24-hour period. So rather than thinking, oh my gosh, I only had 4 hours sleep last night, you think, actually in the last day, I had 4 hours sleep in the night, I had 2 hours sleep in the morning when Juno was napping, I had another 2 hours, you know, in the evening, and collectively I've had 8 hours over a 24-hour period, which is usually what you'd have if you were sleeping, you know, through the night, like a normal person that's not a parent. But I found that really helpful. So I should probably have included that as another bit of advice, to be fair. But that is a really good one, is, you know, look at your sleep over a 24-hour period rather than from like 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Look at it the whole day and try and get as much as you can across the 24-hour period rather than just at night, because I'm not going to lie to you, you're not going to sleep much at night for a while. And that's okay, but just prepare yourself for that. And if you see it as a 24-hour period, you know, grab bits here and there. Do what you can that way. And I think that helped me adjust. Another bit of bad advice. And I feel like if you're a parent, you've heard this as well. That child should really have a hat and some gloves on. Do you not think I have tried to put a hat and gloves on my child? Do you think I want to take her out in freezing cold temperatures without a hat and gloves on? No, of course I don't. I would love for her to be sat in her pram with a hat and gloves on. I cannot glue them to her hands. I can't do that. If she's going to pull her hat and gloves off multiple times, there is nothing I can do other than keep trying to put them on. But eventually she gets really upset by that. She doesn't want them on. It's not that I am neglecting her by taking her out in the cold weather. It's purely because she doesn't want to wear them. And if you had children, you can probably remember a time where your child always took their socks off. They pull their shoes off when you put them on them. They pull their hat off and throw it on the floor. It happens. It's just the way it is. That's kids. That is babies. That's what they do, I swear. Or is it just my baby that does that? Maybe it's just my baby. I was in a cafe, it's a gorgeous cafe in Brighton. It's like an Italian cafe. They do all of this gorgeous Italian food. And there was a table of older women sat down, and I was carrying Juno in the carrier. she didn't have her gloves on. She had a hat on, actually. I did manage to keep a hat on her then. But she didn't have gloves on. And every one of the women at the table said, "Oh, your hands must be so cold. That child should really have some gloves on." Keep your thoughts to yourself, ladies. Let's hop back into something a little bit lighter. Some good advice. Everything is a phase. I heard this a lot when I was pregnant and a lot at the beginning of Juno's life. And because it was sort of her newborn phase, there had been no previous phases. So I didn't really know if it was a phase or if it was going to end or if it was going to continue. But it is true. And it's not always a positive thing. It can be a negative thing. Everything is a phase. If your baby is sleeping well for a few weeks, it could be a phase. It might go back to how it was. If your baby's sleeping really badly, rest assured, it's a phase. If your baby is eating really well, it might end. It could be a phase. Juno goes up and down all the time with food. The last few days, she's eaten so much. Previously, she had eaten nothing for 3 days, like barely anything, just breakfast and snacks. No proper meals. Everything is a phase. I try and think of that mostly in the most positive way. If you're having a hard time, if they're unwell, teething, nap refusals, sleep regressions, fussy eating, it usually passes, and that is really comforting. So that is a really good bit of advice that I received. Everything is a phase. So I'm going to leave it on that last bit of good advice that I received. I think in general, good advice comes down to acknowledging that everybody's situation is different. Everybody's child is different. Something that worked for you might not work for me, or vice versa. You can give your advice and you can say, have you tried this? Have you thought about doing this? Rather than saying, this is what we did. This worked. You should try it. Some things don't work for everyone, and that is okay. Every baby is different. Every parent is different. That's life. Ultimately, you need to take care of yourself and take care of your baby. Don't compare yourself to other mums. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Being a mum is a huge journey of ups and downs, and you're not going to enjoy it all, and that is okay. Honestly, that is totally okay. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've really enjoyed filming it, and please let me know some of the best and worst advice that you've been given. Lots of love. Bye.